the opposition, should be able to read the handwriting on the wall and begin to pull themselves together with a view to, playing the role, constitutional role that they are supposed to play. If they continuously allow themselves to have these internal squabbles, skirmishes, as it were, it will not, do them any good. So the earlier they put themselves together, the better for them. Of course, the ruling party will be, going home, cruising, as it were, because all these things are happening for them for good. So the spurt of grab it, run with it, and all that, it will be less because they will face less opposition. That is my admonition to Labour Party. Ditto PDP, and to a large extent also to ADC. They should put their, this thing together. Why APC seems stable, sufficiently stable, is because they are the ruling party. There's a lot of things, people are gravitating around many opportunities and all that. But in opposition, it is difficult for people to gravitate around opportunities because politics is who gets what and how. That is the simplest definition of politics. And when the who gets what, is not, going around, you begin to see, people coming up with one idea or the other and then beginning to, cause confusion within their political parties. But if it is possible for all political parties to close ranks, that would be better for the Nigerian people. I think the LP at this point in time, particularly Julius Abure, like I said earlier in this program, should let go if he has the interests of Labour Party at heart. Of course, if he doesn't have the interest of Labour Party at heart, just like he, positioned yesterday, that they are going to, appeal the judgment. I wish them good luck, but for the Nigerian people, it's a bad omen for us.
Bad omen for us. Funny more.
It is a dangerous descent to abyss. What is happening to Labour Party, and it's quite unfortunate. Now, we may not have a choice in next election if it continues like this. Just like Mazi just straight, there is crisis in Labour Party. It's difficult to place PDP on any pedestal, and ADC is being stoked by internal crisis. And this is just the beginning of the end for some of these political parties. Now, how do we, a formidable opposition needs to work doubly to upset the status quo. But how would you expect a fragmented opposition to contend with a behemoth that we have now, which is APC? It becomes very, very clear that these people, it is either they are working to an answer that you and I don't know, or that something somewhere, somebody somewhere is raising this political party to become an Abiku or Banje in Igbo land. That's my submission.
Okay. I would like to add this headline to it from the Punch. It says, Otis LP bloc seeks reconciliation as court sacks Abure.
Okay. Now, my takeoff point will be that I think the Guardian missed it when they said that LP leadership verdict alters opposition politics ahead of 2027. If I got into the mind of the editor or the person that wrote the story, practically what it's saying is that Obi still has a chance in the Labour Party. But I don't think that Obi will make that mistake of coming back to the Labour Party.
Because he also did say here that Peter Obi's ADC move faces uncertainty as LP leadership crisis settles.
So what crisis? Which crisis has been settled in the Labour
When
Party?
Abure is planning to go to court.
Not just planning to go to court, because he gets
seeking peace.
Seeking, no, I mean, if you are seeking peace, one party is seeking peace, another party is threatening to go to court. This issue, as far as I'm concerned, was resolved last year. But it kept festering because the people that are responsible have not taken the right steps to ensure that Abure should stop parading. This is more like impersonation.
Absolutely.
But we don't see anybody going to court to say, look, you're impersonating the Labour Party chairman. We don't see the police say, look, we are charging you for impersonation and all of that. We don't see security agencies asking Abure, to stop all these shenanigans within the Labour Party. And you open the Guardian online, what you see there is the picture of Abure with his title as Labour Party chairman. The Supreme Court had clearly said that, look, your tenure expired as Labour Party chairman in December 2024. And he keeps putting up a fight, Labour Party chairman, and he gets some kind of recognition, even from our constituency. So it speaks to some kind of complicity, connivance, in some quarters that is difficult to exactly point where it is coming from. Practically, personally, I don't blame the APC for the problem in the Labour Party. People in the Labour Party, it's like me, I'm in my house now, and you and your house causing problem between me and my wife. I should hold myself responsible for not being able to settle my problem with my wife and not hold you to account or hold you responsible. That's exactly what the problem is. And there is something that has been out there, for a very long time, and it's become a myth that is trying to endure, or a myth that has actually endured. I don't speak for P2B. I'm not even a member of the obedient movement. But the fact that, P2B is not used to primaries, he likes consensus. The man has just made a shot at the presidency only once with the Labour Party. And when he ran as running mate to Atiku in 2019, they were in the ballot at the primaries level. And when he saw the handwriting on the wall in 2022 with the PDP, he left because they had made it difficult for him, because he knew he was going to lose. So when people come out and say, Obi is accustomed to looking for consensus, it's only once now, and the Labour Party, did anybody wrong with him in the Labour Party? Did he stop anybody?
You see,
So when, okay.
Yeah, the issue here is that the nature of our primaries leaves much to be desired.
Absolutely.
The nature of our primaries. People have said it has been dollarized, as it were. So a lot of money goes into primaries. Recall that you have delegates from each state, each local government, each ward. By the time you aggregate the number of delegates, it sums up some political parties about 3,000 and all that and all that.
Yes.
So now, and in the Nigerian, way of doing politics, primaries, you need to have contact with every delegate, if you so wish. So that is where the problem is. So your pocket must be deep enough, sufficiently deep, to be able to carry this burden, financial burden of the primaries. And that is where it becomes difficult for people who do not have very deep pocket to succumb to this sort of arrangement. If it were level playing ground, no inducement, vote your conscience, you see a lot more people will come up. But when it involves deep pocket, that is where the problem lies. I cannot.
Let's break it down to this deep pocket that you are talking about. At least in one of the political parties, you have what you call, like you said, delegates from the ward, local government, state, and at the federal level. So they are graduated. The delegates are graduated. In terms of level, local government, state, and national level. But they all carry the same weight. Because they will not say, because you are a state level, because you're a state level delegate, one vote will be counted 3 for you. The same one vote that you have is the same one vote that the person from the ward has. So when they are giving the person at the state level $40,000, they are apparently giving you at the ward $40,000. They are graduated in terms of level, but the weight is the same, And the primary thing is not proportional. It's first past the post. Yes. The moment I score 99 and you score 98, man, the second is last in that game, in that battle. Yes. So everybody tries to outdo each other. And I recall that last year, one of the political parties, they were sharing $40,000 apiece per delegate. Calculate that.
Calculate that. That is humongous.
For 3,000 delegates.
That is humongous.
$40,000.
I didn't say 4,000. I said $40,000.
$40,000
$40,000.
for 14
So monetization of primaries
For,
is
three,
the bane
for
of this.
thousands of delegates.
thousand.
You know, so it's difficult to get into that kind of race. Win election, and not come out, you know, to recoup, because it has become an investment.
Yes.
You know, you've just gone into an investable fortune. And
This
so
thing you said just reminded me of a story that we talked about yesterday in Ebonyi State. Yeah, where
the local
the
government expression of interest.
expression of interest is
Yeah.
30 million
30
now,
million.
30 million naira.
And Umahi has paid for the son. You see, this privilege kind of situation where the sons replace the fathers, you know, that is that is getting.
That's what we
roots.
have gotten into.
Yes, it's getting
actually.
roots. By the time you sack Jack Robinson, it becomes an anathema for your son not to replace you. You understand me? So
Yeah,
it is gradually gaining ground.
It's not only in the it's not only in the political
How
class.
can a young man just graduated 5 years post-graduation experience and who wants to enter into politics? Probably he has what it takes. He's technologically savvy. He's this, he's that. He penetrates the youth. Where else can he get the 30 million naira to buy expression of interest? That is what is the problem. The monetization of our political system has made it increasingly difficult for the level playing ground not to hold. Even when you bring a bulldozer to level the place, he refuses to be leveled.
Man, talking about this, don't you see Minister Nyesom Wike, his son, you know,
Always by
his side, and we hear that he's propping him up for House of Representatives.
Yes, he's teaching him
You know,
politics.
he's teaching him politics.
Yes.
So, and if you talk about, it's not only in the political class. At some point in universities, you know, when the coin flipped and university lecturers started, you know, earning a lot of money, big salaries, you know, what they started doing was to start reserving teaching appointments for their children. You see somebody.
Those in oil company do so too.
Those in oil companies do so, you know. So it's a Nigerian thing. It's not isolated to the
The
political
sector
class.
is lucrative. People would want to bring their children
Their
along.
children along. So
The
that
other
is
thing
really
you
what
said
is
was
happening.
whether P2B will be able to go back
To the Labour Party.
to
According to
LP
the
and all
headline,
that.
yes.
You see, you cannot predict the Nigerian political terrain. It's difficult. Like they usually say, 24 hours in politics.
It's a long time.
It's a very long time. Something can happen as we are talking. Something can happen, and it gives vent for such a movement to happen. So I am not ruling out anything in politics. I'm not ruling out anything. Of course, you know that political parties are vehicles for achieving your political aims and all that. You can't do it alone. There's no provision for independent candidacy as it were. So you must have to move with political parties, which gives you the platform to launch your political ideas and all that. So it will not be totally out of place tomorrow if I see a P2B going back to Labour Party, particularly when he's being muzzled up in ADC. Because the way the things are going, it becomes difficult for a P2B to match an article in the primaries. And come to think of it, when you look at the political space, environment, and what have you, and the spate of attacks directed at P2B and all that, you know that APC will be more comfortable having an article on that ballot than a P2B. If APC, if you can read the minds, I have watched the scenario very critically. I think APC will be more jittery having a P2B as the presidential candidate of ADC than having an article. That is the way I look at it. And that is why you have spate of attacks on P2B more than any other political figure in terms of presidential candidacy and all that and all that. So it is there. And that is why we are saying, look, it will benefit ADC if Atiku steps down and supports P2B. Tinubu will have a run for his money.
All right, then. Well, let's talk insecurity now. The headlines here. Atiku, PDP fault federal government, police over kidnap of 163 worshippers in Kaduna. Let's see the riders to that story. Obi urges action after Kaduna abduction. And also, Basically, same story in the cover page of the Punch. It reads, counterterrorism campaign. FG moves to fast track trial of 5,000 insurgents. Military, police, NSCDC budgets 204 billion naira for operations in 2026. Security agencies to harvest DNA of notorious terror kingpins. Court issues bench warrant against Turji Bello linked suspects. All right. And talking about this story, when you flip the pages, you see that the Kaduna kidnap, 163 of them, it was 177, but a few escaped, and then 163. Away from the denial, the initial denial, we've seen that the terrorists now have made their ransom known. They're asking for 29 million naira. So yes, well, not each, just 29 million. So basically, now we know that people were kidnapped. It's been made official, and the spokesperson of the police has also confirmed. And then he said something. Let me get his quotes directly. He says, the initial denial of the Kaduna State CP, Mohammed Rabiu, were not denials of the incident, but a measured response pending confirmation of details from the field, including the identities and number of those affected. William Sejayi, thank you very much. I understand that you're back with us in the conversation. I'll have you go first on this one.
Yes, 29 millions. I had 29 million. I was shocked. You know, I'm shocked because it's surprising to see 29 million. I was supposed to see something huge. So it means
you think it's small?
That probably these are just.
Hey, imagine 29 million is small.
Probably they are upcoming kidnappers. You understand? So whichever level, it is very appalling. And comparing to the fact that there was also an initial denial, and then you see people just being kidnapped. Just at will in the place of worship.
29 million deposit. That's how they put it.
Okay. Exactly.
29 million deposit.
Yes. I was trying to say, okay, why deposit? It means probably maybe it's upfront or balance. You have to balance us later. But just bring 29 so I can release these people. Imagine. So it is very appalling. You imagine kidnappers boldly giving out instruction, telling you deposit 29 million. So I will release them. Maybe if I kidnap again, you will not add to the deposit that you have. It is very, very appalling and disgraceful. Totally unacceptable. Because Nigerian security, first of all, denying the fact that people were not kidnapped. And now terrorists now coming up to say, okay, we need social amount of people we kidnap. The same people you deny that they were not kidnapped. Now you are coming to say, okay, no, it was an approach, probably just to make the public become no. This is unacceptable, totally unacceptable. And now we are seeing 204 billion for operation in 2026. Imagine the money that people have been using in operation before this one is made public. And then we are having issue of kidnapping in Nigeria all over. In fact, it's even becoming like a national issue. I tell you, there's not any other state that is free from kidnap activities. So it is very, very appalling. In Edo State here, the same thing. You can imagine, you can interest you that governors, to some extent, can be blamed, but they are doing a lot. Recently, just as we saw publications, how the governor has been supporting the Nigerian police, and then the commissioner of police here in Nigeria, in Edo State, is not living up to task. And people are being kidnapped on a daily basis. The one that happened in Ekpoma became an issue that sparked up a protest that turned riots. So why is it that people are being empowered and then you're not doing anything? Then they will not come back to the issue of state policing. They'll be coming for that, and that is still on the pipeline. It has not been resolved. So there are a lot of ways that this issue can be tackled, this issue can be resolved if we are very sincere. Because if you are not complicit to this issue, I see no reason why you are not tackling it when you have the manpower. There's one social activist that will always come up and tell you that when he gives you his analysis, they will tell you confidentially that security personnel are also directly involved in these issues. That is totally unacceptable. Now up to today, he has not been a call to order to say, okay, give us reasons why you say these people are there. Nothing. Nobody is calling us, calling him to book to say, okay, why will you be making such statements? So it is our time that we should just take away politics from a lot of this. If it's all about politics, if it's all about personal interest, if it's whatever people are gaining, whatever it is that you are gaining, you should just remove it out of it, and then let's solve these issues. People can no longer worship in their place of worship. People can no longer go to market. People can no longer go to farm in peace. Because you just be there, they will just kidnap you, and then you don't even know your fate. Not until probably they decide to pay you ransom, which are not supposed to be so. Why are you paying ransom in a country
thank you very much. Thank you very much, William Sejayi. Let's get other respondents into this one. Daily Funny.
You see, I'm particularly worried about the turn of events for this. I think his name is Makarawa. This was the guy that accused Matawali of giving him money, and that such monies were meant for Toji and his boys. It was on the strength of his allegation that Matawali was called to question. It now turned out now that he's on the run and had been declared wanted by the courts, because 5 of them were arraigned and they bolted. The bone of contention in this is not that the Matawale himself, I've forgotten the exact pronunciation of his name. I think Makarawa, who was a special advisor to Matawali when Matawali was governor of Zamfara. There were meetings which Toji, in one of his videos, confirmed between him and the government. This aid was given 30 million to give to Toji. And Toji came out to say, yes, there was a meeting between his group and government, but not a single penny was given to him after that meeting. So could it be that the man who is supposed to drop money for Toji failed to drop the money and pocketed it? But the fact still remains that there was a link between government and Toji, and that is the area where I feel concerned. If somebody has been declared wanted by the state, and then you are holding meeting with such a person, you are as culpable as this person that has been declared wanted, because that means you are harboring a criminal. And harboring a criminal takes the same penalty as that of the criminal. So why are we not, now there is no immunity for Matawali? With all this revelation, why is Matawali still working freely? Shouldn't DSS have taken Matawali to custody to further interrogate him? And these are indices that show that there is a kind of connivance between terrorists and politically exposed persons that undermines our efforts in this country to tame these terrorists. And it's a sad development. So that's an area that we need to interrogate.
What happened recently in terms of, what is it, 163 or 171 or 177? Bearing the initial denials and all that. And we saw the Commissioner of Police, stoutly saying that there was nothing like that. And they later agreed that a call was made to them that there was something happening. When they got there, they didn't see anything. Police didn't see any sign. And later they have to, make a U-turn. That speaks volume on the security architecture.
Intelligence gathering and the rest.
Intelligence and what have you. And our desire to tackle this insecurity head on. I think the police was very hasty in, trying to deny, because they denied it stoutly. Even when the reverend, one man, was saying this thing happened, said no, it is a lie, this didn't happen, and all that. So I think that is why the international community will not take us seriously in this fight against insecurity. Recall also that there is emergency in the security subsector of this economy.
I haven't been able to have someone explain that state of emergency in insecurity.
I do not see any
president granted.
In the security subsector of this economy. I do not see it. Because if there is an emergency and this distress call was made, and the police, even before coming to air to say this, they must do their due diligence to find out. That for me is a minus to the police and speaks volume to the inability or lack of capacity of this administration to tackle insecurity head on. It can't happen. In an emergency situation, you are denying less than 24 hours, we are owning up.
They're recanting. They say, okay, you denied because you didn't have accurate information.
Look at what you read. It said measured response.
Measured response.
You see, they are not trying to teach us English language. Yeah? You see, Nigerians are sufficiently agency of government. You can own up and then tell Nigerians that look at what happened and all that. Not beginning to try to juggle the situation. I think the commander-in-chief, which is Mr. President, has a lot to do. The command structure have a lot to do. I have not seen the IG of police trying to call the commissioner of police in Kaduna to Abuja for questioning what happened, interrogating and all that. The NSA also have an oversight function of this insecurity. I have not seen an interaction, a conversation between the commissioner of police in Lagos, in Kaduna, and the NSA and all that. So they must have. You see, if you accuse the Nigerian state of connivance, will you be safe to say so? Will you be safe? So what I'm saying in effect is that when this kind of thing happens, police should not be hasty in making statements. They should look at the situation properly and then, come up with a statement that will endure. Like now, as it's presently constituted, the police has the shorter end of the stick.
Well, talking about insecurity, Maz, when you talked about the security architecture, well, so we had a guest here who said, look, before you talk about the architecture, there must be an architect. And he says he doesn't see any architect in Nigeria's system. So, well, we should stop talking about security architecture because it's non-existent. And when you and Moses are asking about that you don't see anything, the declaration of state of emergency in insecurity as declared by our president, well, you choose to see what you like to see. Because I see it myself. I see that state of emergency. At least for the first time, our president went to, a conflict zone where people were killed. President ordered the chief of army staff to relocate to conflict-prone zones and all of that. So, and we saw America, guns are blazing. And on the 25th of December, when we were making merriment, now I don't like the look on your face. When we were making merriment, and there was a bomb blast in Sokoto. And so, what other insecurity?
When the president
state of emergency?
When the president declared state of emergency on insecurity, he asked for the recall of policemen guarding VIPs. Now, weeks after that, they were still investigating policemen that were still guarding VIPs. So, you think the relevant agencies are listening to what the man is saying?
Okay,
well, how they're paying attention to what the man is saying?
After that,
it might be the body language. Maybe the body language is not reflecting, state of emergency, body language. Like, okay, swing to action, do the needful. I'm sure they're not reading the body language. Or
maybe the president just gave it that as sound bites, for newspaper headlines and all of that. We see one here. Federal government moves to fast track trial of 5,000
and then they're talking about.
Is that not
security agencies to harvest DNA?
Are we not in a state of emergency when we are trying 5,000 people?
Security agencies to harvest DNA of notorious terror kingpins.
That is ridiculous.
To harvest DNA.
Ridiculous.
To see how we can match them,
Yeah. No, to know what
that's state of emergency.
What they are
state of emergency.
You see, the government is preoccupied with 2027. The first thing the president did was to invite Abba Yusuf of Kano to Aso Rock. Should it have been?
Is his governor?
That tells you.
His governor is one of the states.
That tells you how the administration who's, thinks about the nation, So for me, it prioritizes 2027
as against lives
every other
and
thing.
properties.
Because he shouldn't have been. He should have done a lot of work, having been outside the shores of this country for so long.
20 years.
Yeah.
20 days.
20 days. He should have prioritized, things that. But he felt seeing Abba Yusuf of Kano State, for the possible defection and all that, his topmost priority in the
Is that, did they discuss
because our electoral system.
Did
is
they
not
discuss
working.
defection?
What else has it done there to do?
Kano State is one of the important states in Nigeria.
Important in what respect?
In terms of population,
Politically or
assets,
economically? Or
economically, assets. It's an industrial hub.
They
Before-
discussed defection.
Oh, they discussed.
I know you're trying to be cynical.
I don't know what you
They discussed defection.
Were you there?
Now he wants to see Kwankwaso.
Yes.
Now he has asked to see Kwankwaso, so they'll talk more. So it's defections. We
Oh,
know.
really?
We
Okay.
know.
Well, I don't know, but you're trying to convince me. But I know that he's the president of this country. He's at liberty to invite
What
any
I'm
of the
saying in the
governors.
fact is that Kano doesn't have the kind of emergency situation that Rivers has now. And he chose to speak to Kano State Governor and all that.
River State's problem is self-inflicted.
One has, think that when the president comes, he will first of all address the issue of Rivers State because he has already earlier on declared state of emergency in Rivers and things are not yet abated.
But
And
you
I
know
know
one
that
of
the protagonists in the whole thing are waiting for him to come so that this issue can also be.
No, see, they didn't just wait for him. One of them jumped on a plane and went to France to meet him.
Okay.
So, maybe they settled their issue.
So
there.
there are a lot of things, that demands attention and all that. And has the presidency responded to this Kaduna kidnap? The avalanche of the spokespersons, which one of them has responded? Is it Daniel Buala? Is it what is his name?
Bayo Onanuga.
Bayo Onanuga? Is it Sunday Dare?
Is it Tobi Tope?
There are a lot of them. Have they responded?
Meanwhile, as we're talking about this, my eye just went to this headline from The Guardian. It says U.S. plans options to protect Christians in Nigeria soon. And then looking at the story, the writer is insecurity, not religious war, hits all faiths. Presidency insists. Now, United States Congressman Riley Moore has disclosed that White House will soon come up with options to protect Christians in Nigeria against persecution by Islamist extremists.
So, Mazi, you will not understand why the presidency and his handler, the president, his handlers, and the presidency will not make comments on the Kaduna killing. Because they are busy crafting, press releases, press statements, around the fact that it is one screw seller in Onitsha. It is IPOB, it is P2B, people that are related to all these factors that went to United States to, drum up support for America to come and bomb Nigeria. So they are more concerned with that. And in the coming days, you'll now see releases around that area, like we have seen, instead of having to address the issues in Kaduna. So that is what we see with the president's handlers.
Unfortunately, if they continue this trajectory, it will be very difficult for this war against insecurity to be won. It is very difficult. With their lackadaisical attitude towards, terrorists, not bringing them to book and all that, this insecurity will last for so long. Recall what Burutai said when he was there, that this insecurity will not abate in a short while.
In fact, he gave a timeline, said the next 20 years.
So that is what it is. It is very difficult unless we tackle this insecurity head on. And we are.
But to be fair, to be very fair, to Buratai, in my study of insecurity, my study of terrorism, my study of strategic studies, I have not seen where insecurity, insurgency lasted below 10 years or so. Look at what happened.
We have had over 17 years.
Yes. Look at what happened.
It should
in
be
fact.
3, according to your own postulation.
It should be
3 years more. to make it 20.
No, Buratai's postulation. not me.
I said, according to your strategic leaning, you said it will last minimum 10 years.
No, I didn't say that.
Let's give a cap of 20 years. So in the next 3 years. So you have to tell us how it will abate or totally be eradicated in the next 3 years.
No, I don't know what you're imputing. You are imputing motives in my word. I didn't say that. I said in my study of terrorism, strategic studies and insecurity, that I have not seen where insurgency lasted less than 10, 15, 17, at most 20, you know. And so that what I'm saying now is, so I want to be fair to Buratai because he must have spoken based on experience as a soldier, as chief of army staff, you know, as an envoy, Nigeria's envoy to Benin Republic. Now, that said, you recall what happened with AFRC FARC in Colombia. For more than 50 years, they were battling with it. It is not as if they were bereft of ideas or they were bereft of military technology and all of that. It is just that it's a complex, complicated situation, you know, that waves like,
complex, complicated situation.
Yes, complex and complicated situation. Something might be complex but not complicated, you know. But this one is that it is both complex and complicated at the same time. You know, so, and when I saw Obasanjo saunter into Aso with people from FARC, you know, to come and teach Buhari how to solve the problem of insecurity, I just laughed. And it was 51 years after that FARC had to sit down with the government of Colombia to say, look, this is the direction we want to travel in solving this problem. And until we get to such a, because they had tried several means, you know, people, hundreds, thousands, millions had been killed in the past 50 years in Colombia, you know, because of power struggle between the government and FARC. And if you go to Afghanistan, how long has it lasted? You recall that USSR, when it was USSR, Russia went there and got a bloodied nose. Is it in Somalia? Where is it in Sudan?
All right.
Is it in Vietnam?
Well, let's touch on a few other headlines before we call it a day. And I'm just going to read out the headlines on the cover page of The Punch and The Guardian, but let's go first. FCCPC moves against unregistered loan apps, revokes conditional approvals. That's from The Guardian. And also, FG affirms plan to abolish HND, empower polytechnics to award degrees. Awujale, Ogun suspends selection process over petitions. And there are riders to that story. Ijebu professionals laud suspension. Aspirants to appear before DSS as kingmakers call off meet and greet. All right?
You see, the Awujale Liverpool, it's a case of two elephants fighting. What happened was the governor of Ogun State called the kingmakers to a meeting and he announced to them a particular name that did not sync with them. And these are titans, these are business titans, the kingmakers, the likes of Kuku, you know. And they said no, that is not the arrangement, that they will put up names. And even if they are to put up names, that particular name that they said from higher quarters should be imposed on them, they were not going to agree to it. So the governor felt insulted because I watched the video and felt that, okay, if you are not going to accede to this name that I've put forward, then I would rather suspend the process of appointing a king for Ijebu land. And that has been the case. But the point is, at what point do we now have governors imposing kings on traditional institutions in Nigeria? It shouldn't be. The kingmakers know these people. They know how to profile them. They know their antecedents. They know their history. So you don't just come because somebody is connected to somebody and then you just impose that person on your whole community. It's not going to work.
All right then.
I would rather look at the issue of dichotomy between the HND and the BSc stuff. Yeah. This thing has gone on for too long. The HND BSc dichotomy has gone on for too long. People, holders of HND were asked to go and get a diploma, you know, so that you can go for your master's degree and all that. All that. And it has gone on for too long. I do not think, I don't know how this can be resolved. I just don't know how it can be resolved. Is it by enriching the curriculum of the HND certificates, you know, so that they can turn, you know, they can metamorphose into
I think it's a thing that has to do with the law.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what the National Assembly can tinker with it, because this thing has gotten to too long. People with HND, you know, with their colleagues with BSc in an organization, they will see the BSc, being promoted ahead of them.
Especially in the civil service.
It is worrisome. It is worrisome. For the past 20 years, I've been hearing about this. And it seems intractable.
That was what I said on the morning show.
Yes. It seems intractable.
Differences. First degree and masters, they are not the same thing. Masters and PhD, they are different things. These are different levels. Maybe what we are looking at, the number of years put in, you know, in study. HND does practically 5 years because of the 1 year training. But then, BSc, that is the bachelor's degree, is rated higher. If you go to the United States, there's what they call AABA. You know, AABA. It's like NCE and BEd. They are two different things. Somebody that has an NCE cannot stand up to, you know, the authorities and say, this person, you have promoted him. He has BEd and I have NCE. I see that there is a difference between HND and BSc. Structural difference anyway. And like I said in the morning, you know, the reason why we even started the polytechnic education, by the way, was to create some kind of mid-level technical manpower in the industries, in the process of our industrial growth. You know, and over time, that thing has that essence has not been realized, because you train people, maybe because of the structural problems too. We got into polytechnics, and instead of doing practical, we started theorizing. So when they finish, you know, they are unable to go to industry and practicalize. So they expect to see, and somebody that is wearing tie, you know, in an air conditioned office, probably an accountant or public relations manager, and they want to be in that position instead of having to go to factory to fiddle with nuts, bolts, and all of that. So that is where this problem started. Until we need some kind of reorientation that, look, technical education is for industrial growth. It doesn't diminish you, you know, as a person. It doesn't diminish your value. I have seen places where engineers earn more than accountants.
Absolutely.
You know, so that division, I think it's how can I put it now?
Is it imaginary?
It's status symbol. No, it's not imaginary because it is there. There are people who want to level up, you know, simply because, you have HND, I have BSc. And when they upgrade,
all right,
we don't get to see that problem.
All right, let me add these few headlines to it before we go to Benin. Nigeria accounts for 63% of West Africa's diesel imports from India. We also have ICPC to arraign Ozekhome Monday over UK property. AU Afrima hails Sanwo-Olu sponsors after awards. DNA tests cleared Davido in paternity dispute. Father. All right, William Tejaye. What headline do you react to? And
yes, Nigeria accounts for 63% of West Africa diesel imports from India. I think this one is very surprising. While you guys were discussing the issue of the polytechnic, and it just flashed to my eyes, and I was very, very surprised. It is very surprising. It's not acceptable. You know, we are self-sufficient with all these things. I see no reason why we cannot produce for ourselves. And a lot of refineries are there. The private refineries, our own government-owned refineries, still not up to the task to supply and also meet the demands of Nigerian citizens. You know, diesel imports is very alarming. It's not acceptable, and the prices here in Nigeria is almost 1,000 plus. You can imagine how it is because you don't have
from
surplus.
India.
From India.
So it's very disgraceful. It's not what we should be painting. I think the Nigerian government needs to do a lot. We can't be exporting. We can't have these things, these things in our country and still be importing finished products. It's quite alarming. And it's
alarming indeed. Absolutely alarming.
He always come to update us that the Port Harcourt refinery, Kaduna refinery, that they are functioning. So what if they are functioning? Then what is the product that they delivering to the public? So this is not what we are supposed to be saying. It's totally unacceptable.
Well, it's unacceptable, but that's what we're dealing with. Anybody want to add to that?
Yes.
In 1 minute.
India
please.
is an oil-producing country, ranking among the top 20 to 25 producers globally, with a production of approximately 737,000 to 952,000 barrels per day as of 2023-2024. However, it is not self-sufficient. It is also the third largest oil consumer in the world, relying on imports for a significant portion of its needs.
So even India is important.
Israel is important, and we're importing from India. So where is that story coming from?
Oh, well, we're out of time for this conversation. We'll explain this.
Mr. Oil.
That is why.
Very funny, Mr. Oil. Nigeria is importing diesel.
No time.
Nigeria is importing diesel from oil. What is happening to your listen?
From India. All right. Well, this will be a good place to anchor the conversation. Thank you very much, William Tejaye. Thank you also, Mazi Amobi Iheburu, and thank you, Mr. Dele Fanimo. I must say thank you to Chukuma Okoro as well. But he makes a comeback later tonight at 6 p.m. for Political Lens, and they will be traveling around the country, bringing you topics, topical issues will be discussed. It's a program you don't want to miss. 11 o'clock, sports comes up next. Don't miss it. I am Moses Humphrey, wishing you a beautiful day. Bye for now.
This is Health Check, your weekly guide to better living, smarter choices, and trusted answers. From everyday wellness to urgent health issues, we've got you covered. Health Check, only on Voice of the People television, where your health has a voice.
In a world where power shapes with every headline.
In a nation full of questions.
In a world filled with noise, the truth needs a voice.
The policies that shapes our world and the economy that determines our future.
Every hour, every day, the grapevine keeps buzzing. And together, we are committed to telling the stories that shape our world, because your voice is our focus.
Don't forget, our voice matters the most. Let us come together and share our concerns